All right, Adobe Illustrator tutorial. Let's go. So this is what I got going so far. I've been making this using the pen tool to make selections. Well, I'm not sorry, not to make selections, to make these basic line drawing. I've learned a lot of things. One thing is that these sketchy lines I had going earlier weren't working, so I did a whole bunch of simplifying. I have this original drawing that was the legs didn't look right, so I pulled in this like stock photo of some calf hooves, some cow hooves, and at the moment I am going to use those as my guide to draw some feet. Before that, I was using my sketch underneath this. But I thought I would go ahead and show you how to make a new document. So you go to File, so your Illustrator's open, yada yada. Go to File, New. I chose letter. It's 8.5 by 11 inches. If this menu over here says pixels, you may want to change it to inches because it's just easier to figure out what size it's going to be. I'm choosing letter because that's the size of our paper. So when we print it out in the classroom, it's going to be that size anyway. So that makes sense to do that. So push create. And then you're going to end up opening things here. Okay, you're gonna be able to go to place, and it'll pull a photo in here. But I just realized I should go ahead and I should have had this pulled up earlier, but I forgot. I'm gonna pull in a picture and show you exactly how to open it and all that stuff. Also, I'm home right now. My kids are home. My dog is begging to get in. So I'm gonna have to get up here in a second. 1 second. This is project 5. Okay. So I did have this sketch that I was originally working on. You can see it's the same as Photoshop. If you want to get something from your Google Drive, you got to download it. And then what I did, got my layer right here, right? My empty one. I'm going to go File, Place, choose the thing I want. Here it is. You're going to be able to get this weird little, tiny little version of it. And there's a little arrow. Take it from the corner, drag it down, fill up your page with it as best you can. You can move it around a little bit. I'm basically just going to click outside of it, and now it's there, right? Now, I don't want to do anything to this layer, right? So I'm going to make a new layer, which is down here. That's the layer I'm going to use to make my drawings on. I'm going to click over here on my first layer, though, and I noticed that in Illustrator, you have to click on this little circle to make it select that layer, whereas on Photoshop, you don't have to do that. So absolutely make sure, you're on the layer you want to be on. And then you can go up here to opacity. I'm going to dial that back a lot. And then I'm going to go back to the top layer because this is where I want to do drawing with my pen tool. Now, keyboard shortcuts, which you can't see me doing, but Command plus, Command plus, Command plus, Command plus. That's how you zoom in. Also, if you hold down the space bar, you'll get this little grabby hand, and that's pretty useful. Just to show you for reference, on this one here, I simplified it. I took out the feathers, and I took out the feathers down here on the bottom as well. It was just too complicated to do. So now you're going to go over here to pen tool. Now, there is a drop-down menu here, and a couple of times I've gotten confused about this. The add anchor point, delete anchor point tool. Delete anchor point can be useful. And I haven't figured out whether this maybe just moves anchor points, but I haven't really, Anyways, when you're drawing, only the pen tool is going to help you do that. Also, you're going to want a stroke, but you're not going to want any fill because that's going to start creating shapes. So this is the fill. I went up here with this red, like no fill. Over here, this should be just black stroke. I have it just at 1 point. If you want a more artistic sort of shape, I do think this one here is kind of nice because it tapers, but I am just not going to be able to figure out if that is what I need for later. So I'm going simple 5-point round, opacity, etc., etc. Make sure you're on your drawing layer, and then you can use the tablet. And now you can see, but I'm just using a mouse. What you do now is you go over here, go to the next spot, and if you have that mouse moving, then you should be able to make a curved line. So let me delete that, all right? I'll show you. There's no history palette as far as I can tell. So the delete tool is going to be what you use, delete button. Also, you can go edit, undo. All right, so you click, and then I'm going to come up here and make another click, but while I'm doing it, I'm moving it. It's like a click and move at the same time. And then you can use these little handles and change the shape of that line, and there you go. Then you go up, make another one. Now, I personally, a lot of times when I go up like this, I hate how it's curving the other way. So I'll go back to my anchor point and just like click on it again, you know, to get a straight one coming out of it. So here, there's two curves here. So I'm not going to go across both of them. We're going to need 2 anchor points to make that work. So I'm going to go here. Oops, my bad. You know what I did is I didn't move it while I was clicking. If you don't do that, you're not going to get those anchor points. So now I got to go back to this anchor point and do it again. Okay, there we go. And then up here, that's my dog scratching to get in. Should I let him in? Yeah. So again, I didn't like this one, and the reason why is because sometimes I want to click back on this anchor and make it straight again. All right. Now, this is important. The escape tool will make that line go away. It'll make it so that you're not doing it, like, so that you're not actively doing the pin tool anymore. That's important because sometimes you come to a line that you can't keep going on. Also, sometimes I'll push the shift button when the line is complete and I don't have that red button back on. Well, I'll show you when I do that. Okay. I'm going to go back to this anchor point. And really, I didn't like this. I don't like it. It wasn't right. So you'd end up doing a lot of this. Oh, this is where I use the shift key. So I use shift, hold it down, click on this anchor, and it'll come back. Now, what I didn't like here, I got to fix by literally just making more anchor points. When in doubt, make more anchor points. Because the more anchor points you have, the more reference you have, and the easier it is to make it right. So, for instance, right here, where it says path, it's going to close this path. Sometimes that's trouble. So I push shift before I clicked on it again. All right, escape, because now I've gotten to a place where I have to get rid of this little line and start somewhere else. Now, I personally would work even more zoomed in than this. So I'm going to go Command plus, Command plus, Command plus, space bar, move around. Now I'm super, super close. I'm going to push shift because I don't want to do anything to the anchor I already have. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Is that good enough? I don't like it. Don't like it. You're going to find yourself pushing delete quite a bit, especially in the beginning. And again, I hate it when it does this. It goes kind of to the left, like it's curving already, and I haven't even clicked, So I'll go back to the anchor point, push shift. Nope, this one I don't need shift. And there you go. That one's better. Now, is this laborious? Yep. Is it the only way to do it? Yep. All right, let's let the dog in, huh? I can hear him. He's desperate. He's very upset with me. Here. You see him? Okay. So, clicking, clicking, clicking. Your best tools, your tools you're going to use, you're going to be using escape to get rid of this line. You're going to be using shift to add to a path that seems to be already closed, etc., etc. Once you get this far, you're not going to want to delete anything. It's going to be very bad. So, you just kind of have to do it right. You can't really go back that far, you know? And sometimes you end up accepting things that you may not want to. Okay, so shift anchor point. All right. Nope. So that, hate that. Don't even know what that means. It's like it clears it. Sometimes it'll freak out. This is my daughter. When you get close to another anchor point, to another path. So I'm going to try that shift again and see if I can't. There we go. So for whatever reason, I don't know. I didn't look it up. I was just doing it by, playing with it. When I push the shift key, sometimes it'll prevent that clearing from happening. If I do accidentally clear a space, I'll go to edit, undo, and it'll go edit, undo, clear. It'll usually give it back to me. Again, now I got this big thing, so I got to push escape, and the little thing disappears. And, you just kind of spend the rest of your, I don't know, for me, it was like several evenings just clicking around doing this. I also think if you're working really close up, like I am, when you zoom out, it's not going to be that big of a deal, like little tiny imperfections. And whatever, it's your first one you've ever done. So it's going to be fine. All right, so you keep on going like that. Keep on going, keep on going. And now I've gotten myself to this point right here. And like I said, I went to File, Place, and I pulled in a new piece. And I forgot there is one more thing. Perhaps this isn't the best way to do things, but what about the erase tool, huh? The eraser. Okay, so in this case, I can't use the erase tool because I still have a red path that is currently active. Okay, so what I've learned is I got to click outside the path and see how you get a little anchor point, push delete, and then I go up to eraser. And I am able to use it. In any other order, I can't use it. And believe me, I did that by the hard way. And then you'll find that now it's not an active path anymore. So when you go back to pen tool, push shift, it kind of brings it. When you push shift and click on the end of it, it sort of brings it back to life, I guess you could say. Now, one thing I want to experiment with here is, perhaps you guys can figure this out. For instance, add anchor point tool. If I add an anchor point here, does that help? No, it doesn't. So, I don't know. I just don't use it. I am sure that is very useful, but me personally, I have not figured out how to make it useful. Because you can delete an anchor point without changing the tool. All you got to do is click on it and then push delete, So escape to get rid of this line here. Remember, if you wanted to use the eraser, you would click here, delete, and then click on the eraser. I don't know why. Maybe that's not the best way to do it. That's the way Miss McDee's been doing it. All right, so here's my other drawing that I've been working on. I am just going to keep plugging away on this thing. I'm almost done. And then I'm going to conquer the coloring part. Also, you can see there's little sections here where weird stuff happened. I'll have to go in, make sure all those things are, closed and whatnot. And I'll do that first. And then onto the coloring part. And by the way, okay, this program, oh my God, if you don't hear me on anything else, this program's not going to save. It's not going to save things right. It's not going to open back up the way Photoshop does, and you can just open on the image. I mean, it might, but I've been working with it now for a few days, and I can tell you, it ain't done it for me, okay? So, like, when I shut it, or a couple of times when I've switched networks, like when I bring it home, it's gone. Oh, yeah, it's gone. All your work is gone. So, when we're leaving class, you're not going to be able to just walk out the door. Just log out and go. You're going to have to save. Okay, save. In fact, I've saved a couple of times just to make sure nothing happens, because I actually have had the computer shut down. So go to file, save as. Save it on your computer and make sure you're saving as an Adobe Illustrator AI file. It will open back up reasonably right, except that I've also noticed this last time it shut down, my sketch didn't open up, the original sketch that was underneath it. Then I had to replace it, resize it, and line it up with my old sketch. It was a pain in the butt. I don't believe any other type of file is going to work. I think you have to do it Illustrator AI. But man, you better save it all the time. Save it constantly. That would be my advice. And always, always, always at the beginning of class, open up your Google Drive so that you can pull that in to your Google Drive also before you leave class. All right, good luck, and coloring will be next.